detail. Okay. Let's just talk. Let me just talk about a couple of things on sort of general related to sort of foundations project / application paper type stuff first. A few people have sent me application papers with no title and no name. I'm pretty casual. I mean, I don't get too excited about that kind of stuff, but please at least put a name and a title on the paper, okay? Because I'm like, I don't know who it is. Because what happens is, I know in the email you tell me, right? This is Joe or Jane's application paper. But the problem is I have to put it on a desktop, right? And then when I get it on the desktop, it just becomes like all the other papers that are there, and I can't distinguish. Okay, so just do me a favor. Make sure you don't put a title page on it or whatever. I mean, it's just another 2 minutes, but just do me a favor. Make sure you got a title on your work. Okay, a title, a name, and it's nice if you have a course name too. I mean, if you forget, because I have different courses I'm working with, but if you forget that, I mean, I'll figure it out. Okay, but for sure, at least a name and a title. Okay, really is helpful. Okay. Is everybody okay with making progress on papers? And I've been getting lots of questions, which is good. Several people have asked me to comment early. Some are done. Several people handed in one. One person's handed in, I think one person handed in 2. But one person's finished both already. Anyway, so it's coming. Seems like it's coming along. Okay. Yeah, you finished both, and there's another student. You finished both, right? Yeah. Well, you are now too, but you haven't handed them in yet. You threatened. You threatened. Yeah. What happened to the virtual environment? You know, come on, guys. How many trees did you kill? Please try to email stuff to me though. Okay, I'm not going to give Evan a hard time because he just handed it to me in front of everybody, so I have to be nice. Okay, but please try to email me stuff if possible. Okay, I prefer. I'm not a big fan on paper because often what happens is it's not only the environmental thing. It's also that, to be quite honest with you, it's easy to put it down somewhere, and I have these 2 little boys. Hey, Daddy, look at this! Oh, it's Evan's application paper, and you have a match, and it's burning. I don't think that'll happen, okay? You should be alright. Okay. Let me see. This is going to be fun. Let me see if I can get this to work. Do I need to do anything special here? This is not on, is it? Turn that on. Okay. Get the Glatthorn reading up here. How do you guys find this reading? Confusing, okay, easy, hard? Okay, let's do this. Let's do easy / valuable. Well, we'll do 2 ratings. I want to do how valuable it was and how easy or hard it was. So we'll start with easy, hard. This is easy. This is somewhat difficult, and this is terrible. Okay, so can I get I'm not taking any records here. Can I get everybody thumbs up? Is easy, somewhat okay, average, terribly hard. Can I get thumbs? Thumbs, average. It seems to be average. Not very many found it easy. Okay, if you found it easy, mostly difficult. Okay, all right, that's good to know. That's good to know.
He's from CNI. Right. Your curriculum and instruction, right?
The same reading? No. Oh, but the topic. So you, okay. Now, value, perceived value, okay? Because obviously, you might not know absolute value. Who knows for absolute value in education? Okay? Perceived value to you. All right? So, really high value. And I don't think it's worth the paper it's printed on, you know? Okay, so can we get it again? High value. And maybe somewhat good, somewhat average, and waste of time. Okay? Again, no, I'm not taking any records. Thumbs. Okay? We've got some waste of time out there, okay? We've got some valuable. Okay? Oh, it's sort of value average is the predominant view, okay? Few waste of time. Okay. I thought it was a waste of time, that's why I signed it. No, just kidding. Now, somebody, let me see, I think it's RGB, right?
Yes.
Yes. Just give me a minute here, I'm just going to kind of... If I want to get, Mark, how do I get rid of that? Minimize? What, negative sign? No. If I want to get that, I just drag.
You just pull that one, yes.
Drag like that, eh?
Yeah.
Okay. Alright. No, I can't. See, I want it to go big, but I want it to let me scroll down. See what I mean? It's not going to let me. You know what I mean?
If you change to...
Go to size deal, right?
Yeah.
Is that one? Is that one?
You can still go with the wheel.
View?
Wheel. The wheel, mouse wheel. You try mouse wheel?
The mouse wheel?
Yeah.
Oh, this thing?
Yes.
Oh, well, yeah. Sorry, thank you. Oh, that's cool. Okay. Yeah, I forgot about that. Okay. Okay, so let's look at a few. I'm going to go through. I decided I wanted to use the actual hand. I don't usually do this. I'm going to use the actual handout tonight because there's some kind of cool things that are listed on here. And I will tell you, again, we're going to take it a simplified approach, all right? I'm not going to go through all of this, but I do think there's some sort of key themes for you, okay? And I will say in advance that this is going to apply to different people at different times, at different levels, and some of it won't apply to you at all right now. So if that's the case, just try to be patient and remember that down the line it might. If the curriculum picture right now in your school is not affected by this at all, trust me, at some point you'll probably be involved in either a curriculum committee or you'll be involved in working with someone who is doing this in a bigger picture, or you will have some kind of involvement in this material. So I have to be honest, this one, and when we start doing, we've got some admin series coming up, because this is an overall course. We're surveying a lot of topics, right? Okay? So not everything is going to apply all the time. But most of this, if it doesn't apply now, it will at some point. Okay? So just kind of be patient a little bit and realize that at some point a lot of this stuff's going to come in. Okay? Now they talk about a lot of different things like curriculum planning councils and stuff. And since that varies from organization to organization, I'm probably going to kind of leave some of that out. They talk about, how many of you have heard of Deming? W. Edwards Deming. Okay? They talk about Deming a lot. He mentions Deming sometimes, and what they call TQM, or Total Quality Management. Can I get a show of hands who's ever either heard of Deming or TQM, one or the other or both? Okay? Alright, so a few of you. Okay? Somebody give me your idea, your idea of what, an understanding of what that is. One of the three of you who just put your hands up. Like we've marked ourselves now. But is anybody willing to give it a shot? Out of those three? No? Mark? No? You don't want to talk
I
about
can
it?
attempt already.
Go ahead, please.
I suppose total quality management is making sure that all the deliverables that we were talking about from the last section fit predetermined standards and up to quality, up to quality. That's what it is.
That's right. That's good. Yeah.
I know it from a business perspective, like in the business field.
Right. Okay.
Where companies use TQM to, they basically try to say that quality comes. It's like actually it comes from many different facets of the company itself, and is affected from many different parts.
Yes. Yes. Very good. Very good. Did you want to add something to that, Jim?
No, like if it's from a business point of view, that's where I heard total.
That's fine. Yeah.
It basically monitors the whole process of your whatever it is.
Yes.
It's going to the outcomes. You have to make sure that each steps and sections are actually good quality.
Excellent. Sorry?
QA is involved with that as well.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, basically the three of you have essentially covered it. Okay? Now I'm just going to draw, I'm not going to necessarily add anything to that, because that's pretty much what it is, what they just said. but I'm going to draw together the themes that they discussed a little bit, and also give you a little bit of a history background on what this is, because I think that this is, well, not I think, I pretty much know, that this is going to be very useful to you as an educator, because this is becoming more and more important in education. And as Jean, Lakshmi, and Mark said, all of it does come from a business environment. The background on this, actually, Deming, after World War II, at the end of World War II, Deming is actually an American. And he was, you know, he was a PhD and so on. He studied about systems and quality. And he tried to get people interested in his ideas in the United States, but the American people were not, essentially the American industry, they weren't really interested. They said, we know what we're doing, we don't need to listen to you, go away. Kind of like that. So he went to Japan as an American after World War II. And actually, he had great success in Japan, but also the Japanese revere this man. He's kind of like a god in Japan. And I'm not being blasphemous when I say that. I'm talking about a small g god, okay? But he is extremely respected in Japan. In fact, there's several awards. They give out Deming Awards in Japan. And if you get a Deming Award, it's kind of like getting a, you know, the Medal of Honor in the States, or being anointed as a Sir by the Queen of England, a knighthood, or something like that. It's a fairly serious thing. It's, you know, or in Thailand, it would be being recognized by His Majesty the King, would be a parallel. So we're talking a very, very highly respected man, okay? And what he did is, he went to Japan and he basically implemented his ideas, and his central idea is exactly what the three of you just said. Quality, you don't overlay quality. In other words, you don't say, what we do, and we still do this in a lot of companies, we say, okay, here we go, okay, guy A, you are now our quality department, okay, and you know, you have overall in charge, you report to the CEO, who is Evan, okay, and here's what happens. You are in charge of quality. So you go and you look at everything, all the items that come across, and you tell people to fix what's wrong. So if it's a mistake made in this part of the company, you go over here and tell these guys to fix it. If it's in production, if it's somewhere in customer service, then you go over and tell them to fix it. Okay, if it's in accounting, you talk to them, and you report back to CEO. And that essentially is how quality is still done in many companies, maybe the majority of companies in the world. Deming said, no, that doesn't work. That's ridiculous. He said quality has to be, it's almost like a positive form of a virus. You know, when you get a virus, is something that it gets into you and your body system and attacks all the systems in your body, right? Or many of the systems. And if it's serious enough, it can put you in hospital, maybe kill you, depending on what kind of virus it is, right? But it attacks your system. One of the worst viruses, as we know, is AIDS, right? Which attacks the immunity system. So what Deming said is that it's kind of like a positive virus. Instead of infecting something negative, you infect the whole organizational body, all of the people, with the view that quality is the first thing they look for. And so it's looked for everywhere. Okay? So total quality management systems are, if you're using it in teaching, for example, who would be the prime person to ensure total quality management in education? The student, right? Hey, very good. And who else? The school director. I don't necessarily disagree with that. But who's the primary person, Gene? The teachers. Absolutely. In a school, it's the teachers, right? Okay? So what happens is, many times it is the school director that says, I'm overall in charge, but if the teachers haven't bought into the mission, it's not going to happen. It will fail. Yes. It will fail. Okay? And so they talk about, and in many times, several times in this reading, they talk about grassroots. So this is kind of a key idea. I'm going to try to focus on key ideas tonight and get you some understanding of what this is all about. All right? But again, and I think we even talked about this a couple of weeks ago, where, you know, I think I mentioned the story, and I'll sort of recap the story briefly, and a few of you missed the understanding first time, so you might get it this time. But I talked about the person who told Dr. Covey that the East, particularly the Japanese and the Chinese, were going to destroy the Western countries in terms of their business model and their success, and the reason was because we think in the West that the brains of the organization are at the top. But in Japan,